G'day and welcome to the Spearo podcast. I'm your host, Turbo, and today we are speaking with Kavvadias, all the way from the Greek islands. Now, Jerry was in the Greek national spearfishing team, which he represented Greece at the last World Championships, where I believe they came third overall. So he's a very good diver and good Spearo. And we talked to him about the last World Championships, but also spearing the Greek islands and where he's dived and the fish that he shoots in the Greek islands, and he's been diving that since he was a child. So he's a wealth of knowledge on the topic of spearing the Greek islands. Now, a few shout-outs before we get into that. I just want to say a quick g'day to Hillary Robin, who is listening to all of our episodes. Thanks for tuning in, mate. We really, really appreciate that. Joseph Garcia in San Jose. He's getting amongst a few fish over there. Billy Hawthorne around the Block Island area. G'day to you, mate. Keep it up. And g'day to Chris Dillon. Now, Chris is going to be on our show around about January, I believe, and he is the world record holder for Boha Snapper that he got recently. So it's an absolutely fantastic episode. We caught up recently, so there's plenty in store. If you would like to see what else we're up to, Shrek has written a great article for Adreno, and you can read that on their Facebook page or on their blog. That's spearfishing.com.au, or just go to Adreno Spearfishing on Facebook. Shrek has written a little article called Why Change from Line Fishing to Spearfishing. This is a short article that lists a few reasons why you should change from line fishing to spearfishing. One of the highlights for me here is number 2, Spearos get the girls. Now, apparently, according to Shrek, who is some kind of scientist, 85% of Spearos have hot girlfriends or wives, and the other 15% have more than one. Well, I can tell you right now, Shrek hasn't got more than one. I'm not even sure if he has one, so I don't even know if he's any kind of authority at all to be writing these kinds of things. So you should actually have a read of this. He does share some legitimate points there. That's probably not one of them. But once again, you can read that at spearfishing.com.au on their blog. So enjoy that. Now, without any further ado, let's get into today's episode with Kavvadias, all the way from the Greek islands. Guys, if you're on the hunt for some new equipment, check out Adreno Spearfishing Supplies at spearfishing.com.au. They have a huge range of gear. They've got great prices. And if you use the code NoobSpearo at checkout, you'll save yourself $20 on all purchases over $200. So check them out at spearfishing.com.au and use the code NoobSpearo at checkout.
Guys, Spearing Magazine have joined the Spearo podcast to bring this episode to you today. Now, Spearing Magazine they're the best spearfishing magazine in the world. I'm saying it. Turbo said it. Now you know it. And if you head over to Spearing Magazine, you can check out the team. They've got Jeremy Gamble, John Paul Castro, Sky Bailey, Christopher Landers. You have a look. There's some fantastic people they've got on staff, and that's why they produce the world's best spearfishing magazine. The photography is just popping. The stories are awesome. Turbo's been rejected several times, and that's how you know it's top quality. So head over to spearingmagazine.com. You can buy it at your local retailer in the US, or you can even get the digital subscription online, spearingmagazine.com. So g'day guys, welcome to today's Spearo podcast. We're joined by Jerry Kavvadias. Have I said that right, Jerry?
Yes, it's okay.
Well, welcome to the show.
I have heard my names in a 1,000 ways, so it's
And Jerry finished third in the Greek World Spearfishing Champions last year, which was a bloody good effort because it's such a big, prestigious tournament and very, very good, very quality spearfishermen there. So I think you'd have to be proud of that result, Jerry.
Yes, I'm very proud, and my country took the first place in the World Champion. It's an effort that started before, I think, 60 years, and now, and we tried always to be first, and now it's the first time, and I'm very proud that I was a member of this team that achieved that.
And your compatriot Siderius, he finished first in the tournament, And it's a very good effort for your country.
Yannis came second, and the guy from Cyprus, Vasiliou, was first. But we also consider him as Greek guy. So
okay, cool. That's a really, really good result for you guys. Anyway, so thank you for joining us today and doing an interview in English, your second language, which is.
Thank you for your invitation. It's very. I'm very proud of it. Thank you.
Cool. All right, Jerry. So, how did you get started spearfishing, and what made you interested in spearfishing?
I was born in Corfu. It's an island northwest of. It's the northwestern island of Greece, and it's. I spearfish since I remember myself, 6, 7 years old. I don't remember. My father used to spearfish, and he took me with him with a spear gun to catch octopus, little fish, and stuff like this. And that's how I started. I don't remember how exactly I started. 30 years before.
How old are you now? How old are you, Jerry?
I'm 35.
Ah, same age as me. It's a good age. It's a good year, that one.
Yes.
So, when you started spearfishing, can you remember some of the issues or the obstacles you faced?
The obstacles then was very big because we had no information of what to do. Everyone was self-taught, and you heard the stuff that wasn't right, and with personal reading and doing things most times in the wrong way, I tried to be better every day. It's a trial and error, I think.
Yeah.
Technique. Okay, when I was older, about 20 years old, 18, I don't remember, I met some guys that were more experienced than me, and they taught me things that I think it's very good to have someone that is more experienced than you and teach you some things that you couldn't find out by your own.
Who were they, Jerry?
A personal friend that was spearfishing near my village in Corfu, and he was very experienced at this time. When I was 18, 17 years old, he was 30, and he was already catching big fish, diving deeper, and he taught me many things. Nikos Varelis is his name.
Ah, cool. So Nikos was an early mentor for you, and
I think so. But you know, it's the mentors are not always the guys that you hang out with them and go fishing with them. The mentors may be guys that you have never met or you met in your life. I met one of my mentors, Yannis Vlachos. Is a guy that used to spearfish in another island than me, and used to shoot some very, very interesting videos. He was a mentor for me because I learned things from him by his videos, because I saw his movements, the way that he sees fishing. He was a mentor, but I have never met him.
Yeah.
You know, there are many guys. I think a mentor was also Yannis Sideris, because I have seen and I have heard stuff about him that was very, very exciting, and I tried to be like him in the games, in the championships, and that thing worked, I think.
So have you always been competitive, Jerry? Were you always?
No. I'm not at all competitive. But before 2 years, I managed to take part in the Greek championship, and my ability was okay to have some good place there. I came, I think, fifth, sixth, I don't remember, sixth. And at the next Greek championship, I came second, and then I got in the team, in the national team, and that's how
Wow.
my evolution was very, very rapid, I think. I don't know why. I think it's luck.
And an ability too, maybe. Maybe a natural.
Maybe.
Have you always found it easy to relax in the ocean?
Yes, because I spearfish from very early age. I think that going fishing is my second nature, or my first. I don't know. I prefer to be in the sea than in the earth. So it comes natural to me to be there, whatever the circumstances are, and do okay and catch fish. I do this very good, I think.
Jerry, can you share with us a memorable fish that you may have shot?
Yes, it's a memorable experience. All of this that I will describe. It is at 2005. I have bought my first bike. Here in Greece, we ride a lot of bikes. A big bike, because we had scooters and stuff like this as teenagers. But I bought my first bike, and I decided to go for spearfishing in another island. I was living this time in Thessaloniki because I studied there biology. I went to Limnos. It's an island in the North Aegean Sea. It was February. It was snowing, and I find out that the home that I was going to live for the next 2 or 3 days that I went there for spearfishing, totally alone, didn't have any how do you say, heating. But I found out this when I got in the house. They didn't tell me before. Okay, I'm going there. I arrived there at the midnight, and I find out that I'm in a home below zero, minus 1, minus 2. I don't. Okay, I found every blanket in the sea, in the home, every seat, and I tried to get some sleep because the other day I was going for fishing. So in the morning I got up. It was a beautiful day, but when I stretched, everything here in my chest was hurting because all the night I was inhaling cold air. Okay, I will go fishing. I said to myself, I have done so many kilometers with a bike, and it was the same to not go fishing. I go fishing, so it was very hard to get to the fishing spot with a bike and all the equipment, spear guns and the fins and all this stuff. When I got there, I found out that I didn't have my shoes for the sea. So I was walking barefoot on the rocks to go to the fishing spot. Okay, I go to the sea, and after 2 or 3 hours, I managed to catch a big Dentex. It was over 10 kilos, I think.
Oh, wow.
It's a very, very rare capture to have such a fish here in Greece. When I caught the fish, I went out. I got out and I was screaming. The only creatures that could hear me there were some seagulls, and they would fly all over. I scared them. My excitement was very big, and I took a very bad decision. I tried to not come back because I was already, it was winter, it was freezing, I was already exhausted. But my excitement got me in trouble. I tried to go over some islands to see what if there was any fish over there, and I swam about 6 or 7 hours more to come back to the bike. When I have some pictures of this fish, and you could see the exhaustion in my face. I was I was a wreck. I don't know how I got in the bike and took it to go to the house. The house was at the same temperature as I left it. Nothing. So it was something very, very memorable for me. I will remember it for all my life, I think. And all the pressure that was relieved when I caught the fish and I was screaming and yelling at the seagulls. It was very memorable, I think.
Joining us today and supporting the show is spearedapparel.com. The all-new Nova wetsuit requires no lube. That's right. It's got full fleece lining. So if you've got a crappy old wetsuit where you're getting cold, the neoprene's just gone and it's got less life in it than Turbo's undies, then it's time to get yourself a brand new Nova wetsuit. I think they come in a 3.5mm, and you can save 10% by using the code NOOBERS at checkout. So if you're confused about that, it's NOOBERS, speedapparel.com. In checkout, just pump the code and save yourself 10%. Today's Noob Spearo podcast is also proudly brought to you in partnership with penetratorfins.com. Get on there, guys. Have a look at some of the designs they've got. They've got clears. The blacks are beautiful. Check out the Noob Spearo custom Oki print. That's mad as well. Larry's got a full range of wicked designs, and he's got beautiful finish on his fins. He's recently updated his manufacturing process. It's even better than it was before. He makes some of the best fins in the world. He offers a full international warranty, along with $25 flat rate shipping worldwide. And to make that offer even sweeter, pump in the code NoobSpearo at checkout and save another $20. Penetratorfins.com. Support the Noob Spearo podcast by shopping with our sponsor. The next question of the show is hunting technique. So what is your favorite hunting technique and how do you apply it effectively?
It's my favorite technique. It's deep ambush with not static ambush with movement. The Italian guys call this agguato. That's the term that we use in the Mediterranean for this technique. Here in Greece, because fish have gone very, very deep. I don't know if you heard in which depth the championship of Syros was taking place, beyond 50 meters for the first prize. It's all this. There is very little fish here in Greece, so the best way to approach difficult fish is this technique, dynamic ambush, agguato. When you go to the bottom and you do a little scrolling with your hand to go to the fish, and this thing works very, very good in preys like black groupers, golden groupers, Dentex, the cats that is best for here for us in Greece and in the Mediterranean. You can catch a very impressive fish with this technique.
How did you learn?
Sorry.
Aguato. How did you learn Aguato? How did you learn it?
We talked about mentors before. I think that the mentor my mentor in this technique is Yannis Vlachos, the guy that I told you from the videos that I could see in the early zeros.
Okay.
He was the guy that took this technique to another level. His movement is very, very fluid. He could approach fish with a very, very quiet way, and he could catch very, very beautiful fish.
That's awesome. All right. Hey, next part of the show is called Veterans Vault, and I'll come back to toughest situation after, but for Veterans Vault, I wanted to discuss some Mediterranean specific stuff, but we talked briefly before the show about scouting, and scouting is a crucial part for spearfishing successfully in competitions.
Yes.
What is your approach to scouting?
I try to adapt in every competition, so it's not that we use only one technique of scouting. I think that the main tactic that we use in scouting is doing some research with the fish finder before the competition for 2 or 3 days for every zone, and then we try to dive to the most interesting spots in the Mediterranean that the tides are not very big. You don't have a very big tide. You don't care about tides. In the ocean, if you go to the ocean, you must care about the tides. If you see that a current with blurry water comes at some time, you should take this and try to avoid it. Or if you can see some part of the day, you could see some fish more than other part of the day. So you take all this in your mind and try to do some sums about fishing and how it works in different areas. But here in Mediterranean, I think the main problem is the depth. This is the main problem for scouting and fishing also. The depth is the number one problem here in the Mediterranean. In the ocean, there are other problems: big waves, the tides, the currents. But here is depth, and you should, if you go to a very, very deep competition, you try to adapt to these changes. You don't have to go spearfishing in your own spearfishing trips to dive over 40 meters or 45 or 50. In Syros, in the World Champion, I tried to, in the scouting, to also adapt in depth, because it was very, very, very deep. The most deep championship ever, I think. Beyond 50 meters, 55. I dived near 60 meters in the competition. So you had to adapt in the depth in the days before in the scouting.
Okay, and before the show, you discussed briefly about looking at nautical charts and writing down notes about sudden depth changes.
Yes.
Bommies and features, and then you would approach it in a grid-like sort of pattern. You would sort of...
Yes, for 2 or 3 or 4 days in every area, we do this thing with a depth finder, with a fish finder, to see how the bottom drop offs and does some rocks, and this thing, it's not some trick. It's only work. You do this for 2 or 3 or 4 days for 10, 12, 13 hours maybe.
Wow.
Your eyes of the you don't get your eyes off the fish finder, and your back hurts at the end of the day from doing this thing.
It sounds like hard work.
And after this, you try to dive to the spots that you found some fish, or you saw something interesting. That is the technique.
Cool.
It's not. You try to cover the area with the fish finder as better as you can. Okay.
Yeah.
You could see from your experience how the bottom goes, but you could miss something that it's very, very important if you do this. If you are very I don't know how to say it. If you trust your instinct. You could miss something that everybody else has found and has fish, and it's only work. I think you should try to cover the area, the zone of the area of the zone as better as you can with a fish finder, and this takes time and very patience.
And you also mentioned how you can find a very good piece of structure, or like a good rock.
Yes.
And you have a nice approach, and there's fish there. 2 days ago there was fish there, but you're there at 1 p.m. and the fish were there at 9 a.m. 2 days ago. And you were talking about the difference.
This is very important. If you spot some fish and you could see them at let's say 1 p.m., 1 o'clock p.m. And you want to have this fish for your first option at 9 o'clock in the morning. You should check if the fish is there in 9 o'clock in the morning, because fish will not be there. I guarantee you this. I have such a bad experience when in my first championship I could see fish all over the place at 12 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock there was no fish over there. So you should check every fish that you want to catch in the time area that you want to catch them, not other time.
Okay. Cool.
The championship, the games is a very, very different approach from fishing. You go fishing, you are there all the day. You can rest a bit in the afternoon, but in the game it's only 5 hours from 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock, and you should focus when the fish is concentrated at this time area, not at the afternoon or very early in the morning.
So, when you are hunting for fun in the Mediterranean, just for fun to feed yourself and your family, what is your favorite place? You don't have to be specific, but what do you like to go spearfishing for?
Fish or place?
Both.
I think my favorite place for fishing is the island that I was born, Corfu. I have two good friends over there that when I go spearfishing with them, it's always fun, and we have a good time, and it remembers me how I started, I think. It's the best place for me, Corfu Island in Greece. And for fish, my favorite prey is Dentex.
Wow.
It's the most difficult here in Greece and in the Mediterranean, I think. So it's the most. I like it very much to hunt Dentex.
Yeah, I've seen some really one fantastic video, a really good video of a Greek guy hunting Dentex, and he's using a guato, and he comes down gliding through some rocks, and he makes his way down to the bottom, and he's overlooking, and a Dentex comes in off a sand bed.
Yes.
And it's in maybe 30 meters of water, and this Dentex is probably 5 or 6 kg. A beautiful fish, but it's a fantastic video. Very, very good technique, and you can see some of the appeal of hunting there in the Mediterranean.
Yes, it's very appealing. Here in Greece, we have many good spear fishermen, but not many are coming to the championship. I don't know the reason, because I think they are too proud to lose. But I think that after this thing that we achieved, that Greece came first, I think that many guys will think about coming in the competition.
With the Dentex, how do you eat them? How do you prepare them? Cook them?
Dentex, it's the best way to cook it. It's in the charcoal, roasted. I think it's called the best with a little not lime, the lemon and olive oil. It's the best. It's the best way, and oregano.
Nice. Sounds good.
Yes.
All right. So you've done a lot of spearfishing. What's one of the funniest times or experiences you've had out spearfishing?
It's funny. I can remember a funny moment, but it's not so funny when it happened. It's funny when you think it over. We have gone for fishing in the 1st of June. Here in Greece, all the month May is the spearfishing is prohibited. So we had 1 month that we did no spearfishing, we have no contact with the sea, and we had the marriage of one of these guys that I went spearfishing with at the end of May. So a lot of drinking, a lot of eating, a lot of dancing and stuff like this. And we wanted to go for spearfishing in the 1st of June. We didn't want to miss a day. We go to a deep place. We have one other guy with us, Yannis, that is coming from free diving. He's not a spear fisher, but he dives very, very deep. And we go to a place that it drops off at 30, 35, 40, 45 meters, and there is a lot of Dentex over there. Yannis didn't have caught any Dentex before in his life. He wasn't experienced at all, but he was very, very deep. He dived very, very deep. So because I wanted to be kind, I told him if he wanted to go first for a dive to catch some fish, because I knew that there was going to be some Dentex over there. He dives at 30 meters. That was a very, very big dive for first dive. Okay, I said I will have. He didn't catch anything. I said I have to go deeper now to impress him. So I dived in 32 meters. I couldn't approach the fish. Yannis then took the second dive, his second dive. He went to 35, 36 meters. He didn't catch any fish. So I dived at 37. When I dived, I knew that something bad was going to happen in my coming back to the surface. Okay, I knew that Yannis was very experienced in managing trouble in free diving, blackouts and stuff like this. So I didn't I was feeling okay. So I shoot one fish. I pull it with the rope, and when I came at the surface, I had samba, shaking.
Yeah.
The guys, Yanis and Adonis, caught me in the surface like this, one from here, like dancing, Greek dancing, I was shaking all over, and I could hear them because I didn't faint. I could hear them talking. Are you going to put his mask and snorkel out? They were talking to each other. So, as I was shaking, I tried to speak, and I tell them, what is going to happen, you assholes? Are you going to take my mask out? So you can imagine the scene. Two guys over here like dancing. I was dancing literally. And they were talking who was going to put my mask out to breathe. And when at the afternoon when we were talking about it, gave us a good laugh. But at the time that happened, it was a bit scaring. But okay, the most funny things, I think it goes like this: they are scaring when they happen, but then they are funny, I think.
Yeah, I understand. That's a good story. That's the funniest samba we've had. All right, toughest situation, Jerry. What's the toughest situation you've been in the ocean, and what did you learn from it?
The toughest situation, I think, is that one day we went fishing with my boat, and we didn't have a skipper. We didn't have one guy that drove the boat, and we were fishing around 100 meters, 200 meters, the one guy away from the other, but not deep fishing, in the shore. The day was very windy, 7, 8 before, I think, and we were fishing in the place of an island that the wind was. We were fishing at the south place of an island, and the wind was north. So the wind was not making any waves, but was very, very strong. I always try to have my mind in the boat. I always look at it when I was fishing, and at one time I could see the boat moving. The anchor was moving from the bottom, and the boat was going to the sea. I could catch the boat after 1 hour and a half of very, very intense swimming. When I tried to get on the boat, I couldn't because I was exhausted, and it was about 2.5 miles away from the shore. The waves were around 7 meters, 6 meters, I don't know. If I couldn't catch the boat, I would have never returned to the shore. I would drown, I think, and. I think that was the scariest moment of my life, not in fishing only.
Wow.
Yes. I got over the boat, and my knees were shaking. Okay, you can understand this. And I told myself that I would never go fishing with such strong winds. Here we have no big waves like the ocean, but the wind is very, very dangerous. Maybe many days we have 7, 8, 9 before, and some of us go fishing even if the wind is such strong. But it's a very, very bad decision, I think.
Yeah, it sounds scary. It's lucky you got back to the boat.
Yes.
All right, Jerry, now it's time to see what equipment you're using. So why don't you run us through what's in your dive bag and what you use on a day-to-day dive over there in Greece.
My equipment is, I try to keep it simple. I have my wetsuit. It's a smooth shell wetsuit, and I have big fins, carbon fins, and my mask is a usual one. It's not something. It's a normal mask. Our guns are a bit interesting, I think. You can see here, I have one wooden.
Yeah? Is that handmade?
Yes.
It's a Greek spear gun?
Yes, it's made by a friend, but it's very, very good, and I use it all the time. Now it's for maintenance because it's 125. It's a big gun with three rubbers, and it's my special gun. It's my favorite one because with this I do a lot of ambush, deep diving, and deep fishing, and it's very, very maneuverable and very strong. It has a range of 5 or 6 meters.
I know you're pushed for time this morning, Jerry, so I'm just going to move into our last section of the show because you've been kind enough to join us this morning, so we'll move it along for you. But these are just some fast questions. It's called Spearo Q&A. So what is the single best piece of advice you've been given in spearfishing?
I think it's always be safe. I think that's the best piece of advice.
Yeah, okay.
Trying always to be safe.
Okay, and during your 30 years spearfishing, what is the single biggest lesson you've learned?
That we cannot learn the sea. It's impossible. Everything changes day by day, and there is always something interesting to find out, even if you have gone 1,000 times in the sea to catch fish. It's always intriguing, and it's always changing. The sea. You can never learn it.
And the last question for the interview, Jerry, can you describe what spearfishing means to you in one sentence?
I can say it with one word. I think it's freedom. It's total freedom, I think.
Nice. That's very good. Hey, Jerry, I've really enjoyed chatting with you today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's always good to talk to Greek spearfishermen. We've only had one other on before. Vasily Koronios, he joined us. So it's really good to get another one on, and it's a real honour to have someone who finished so well on the World Championships, and it's really nice of you to join us today. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I hope coming to Australia to take part in the World Championship so I can see you and meet you, not from Scotland.
We can have a beer.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Jerry.
Bye.
Well, that's today's episode. Thanks for listening. We hope you learnt something from Jerry over there in the Greek islands and learnt something about what it takes to spearfish high-end competitions like the World Championships. Now, our next fortnight's episode is with James Nestor. I'm not even involved in this one. Shrek interviews James, and he's the author of Deep. Now, that's James's dive into competitive freediving and spearfishing, the world of competitive freediving and spearfishing. Apparently, it's a fantastic read. I'm not even going to lie, I've never even read the book, but Shrek loved it. and reached out to James, who agreed to do an interview with him, and apparently it's absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to listen to it. So we're all hanging out for that one. So great work, Shrek. And thanks for listening, guys. If you want to reach out to us, you can so on our Facebook page, which is Noob Spearo, or Instagram. And if you'd even like to maybe leave some feedback, it doesn't even have to be good. If we're doing something terribly, let us know on Facebook. We'd love to know if we're doing something absolutely shithouse. I'd love to know it. You can send us some hate mail. I'd probably get a kick out of that as well. So you can do that via our Facebook page at Noob Spearo. All right, thanks for listening, guys.
Shrek, why don't you tell our listeners how they can save some money on spearfishing gear?
Well, Adreno have partnered up with Noob Spearo to offer listeners $20 off all purchases over $200.
And how do they take advantage of this deal, mate?
Listeners can use the code NoobSpearo at checkout online at spearfishing.com.au, or they can use it in-store at the Brisbane or Sydney stores.
Excellent. And that code is Noob Spearo.
That's right, Noob Spearo.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. We had a ball bringing you the show. We always do, and it's just, as usual, jam-packed full of good information for the Noob Spearo. Now, if you'd like to connect with us further, do yourself a favour and get on our email newsletter. That is full of the happenings and goings on around Noob Spearo, and it's got some great deals in there for you as well. Now, if you are a hardcore fan, or just a fan, or you need a new shirt, go to noobspearo.com and check out our range of shirts. We've got some great stuff there, from sizes from Turbo to Shrek.
Turbo to Shrek.
Yep, and everything in between. And Shrek, what can they do if they want to become truly better at spearfishing?
Go to Amazon.com, get your hands on our ebook, 99 Tips to Get Better at Spearfishing. It's actionable information drawn from over 10 years spearfishing experience between Turbo and I, and some of the best information we've learned from more than 40 interviews from spearfishing experts around the world. Also, guys, just quickly, leave us a review wherever you listen to the podcast. It helps other people find the show. Thanks for listening today. Look forward to getting in your ears again in another fortnight.
Thanks for listening, guys. We hope you get a couple of PBs this week.